Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is June 12th, 2023, and lots of exciting news today from Barcelona. We started the fact that it looks like the club will be signing the monster, the defensive monster called Mikayil Faye. Also, there's a crucial meeting going on this week between Barcelona and Jorge Mendes. And finally, Barcelona are now targeting a new option for the right back position, whose name is Ivan Fresneda. We have a lot to discuss, so let's dive right into it. Welcome, everybody, to the channel. Welcome to you guys who are on the live stream right now. As always, this is Barca News' live stream. That's every Monday and Wednesday at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thank you for those who will be watching once this live stream is over. As always, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It goes a long, long way in helping this channel continue to grow so I can continue bringing you the most up-to-date news about our beloved club, FC Barcelona. Now, let's start first with the bad news so we can get it out of the way and we can move on to the good news later. But the bad news is that Barca Athletic lost the semifinal for the promotion to the second division yesterday against Real Madrid 3-0. And with that result, Barca Athletic are officially knocked out of the playoffs. So they're going to be remaining in the third division for one more season. Now, Barca Athletic had defeated Real Madrid 4-2 in the first leg of the semifinal when they played in Barcelona. Then the second leg was in Madrid, where Real Madrid were able to win 3-0, making the aggregate score 5-4 in favor of Real Madrid. And with that, Barca Athletic are officially out of the playoffs, and they're going to be staying in the third division for one more season. Now, Real Madrid will get to play the final, and then if they do win the final, they'll be promoted to the second division. Hopefully not. I really didn't think they deserved to win that semifinal. A lot of refereeing errors, disgusting refereeing, to be honest. I watched the match, but it wasn't entirely the referee's fault. I think the team also did not take advantage of the many opportunities that they created during the second half. And then eventually towards the end of the match, they looked like the team gave up. And that's what allowed Real Madrid to score the second goal. And finally, with 2 minutes left in extra time, the referee awarded Real Madrid a penalty kick. And that's when Real Madrid scored. And then the game was over. Now, I also think part of the loss was Rafa Marquez, who's the coach for Barca Atletic's fault. I don't think he necessarily used the best lineup at his hands, but nonetheless, we cannot blame the Mexican coach. I think he's had a phenomenal season with what very little he had, because there's very little talent in Barca Athletic, for the exception of a few handful of players. Also, very little money that Barca Athletic has had this season due to the financial situation of the club. So the fact that he was able to take his team all the way to the playoffs with little talent, little money, I think that deserves high praise for the Mexican coach. Of course, there is no plan of firing him. Rafa Marquez will continue with Barca Athletic next season because, again, he's been able to work miracles with what little he had. Now, the problem about Barca Athletic not being able to get promoted to the second division is that there's a handful of star players on that team whose future now is in doubt. Players like Estanis Pedrola, players like Shadi Riyad, who we don't know whether they're going to want to stick around because they really wanted to move up to the second division. They've proven that their skill level is way above the third division already. So we don't know whether those players are going to end up sticking around or whether they're going to decide to look for their future someone else in the summer. And that's, of course, going to be a big shame if they do end up leaving. So that's the bad news. Barca Athletic will be stuck in third division for one more season. Let's head to the comment section. And then the next news is about the newest signing of Barcelona. Not official yet, but it is happening, which is Mikayil Faye. All right, Dark Knight. He was the first one in the comment section, the first one watching. What's up, Dark Knight? Linus says, bro, should we pull at the levers for Mbappe? No. First of all, we can't pull the levers because Javier Tebas changed the rules, which said that you can't do that anymore. So it would Barcelona cannot do it regardless. But even if they could, no. I think to bring Mbappe would mean like spending at least 100 million euros, which does not make sense to risk the entire future of the club just over one player. And that's just his transfer fee. That's not even counting what his salary would be. I mean, his current salary is 86 million euros, which is freaking insane. I mean, no way Barcelona can offer that. So no, I wouldn't risk the future of the club for Mbappe. Okay, let's see. Where else? Okay, wow, a lot of questions about Mbappe. Yeah, no, it's not happening. Boo, 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 boo. All right, Anthony says, hello, good sir. What's up, Anthony? Linus says, stupid refereeing indeed, but the team did not perform perfectly as well. Exactly, yeah. Bad refereeing, but also Barca Athletic weren't able to take advantage of the situation. And then towards the end, they looked like they just gave up, to be honest. But okay, let's move to the news, because speaking of Barca Athletic, Barcelona are set to sign the newest addition to Barca Athletic. His name is Mikayil Faye. If you don't know who Mikayil Faye is, I sure didn't. I hadn't heard of him before today or before yesterday when the news was announced that Barcelona were set to sign him. Mikayil Faye is an 18-year-old left-footed center back. He currently plays for the Croatian team, and I'm going to try not to butcher this name, but it's Enke Kustosja. I hope I said it right, as best as I can say it. There's anyone who can speak Croatian in the comment section, let me know if that was even remotely correct. But anyways, Mikayil Faye, 18-year-old, left-footed center back, plays for the Croatian team. He's just signed for them this year in 2023 from the Senegalese team, Diambars. He came up through the Diambars FC Academy, got signed for the Croatian team. Apparently, huge explosion on the radar of many of the big clubs. Chelsea and Dortmund were fighting for him. And it looks like Barcelona beat everybody to the punch, and they will be signing him for 5 million euros. It's not officially confirmed yet, of course, because the summer transfer market is yet to open. But it's reported that the agreement is completely done between the club, the player, and his current club. So this signing will for sure happen, pending the official signature and the official announcement. Now, it looks like Barcelona are going to pay 5 million euros for this youngster, with some variables. We're not clear about what the variables are, but we do know that the transfer fee is 5 million euros fixed. Apparently, this guy, he's been nicknamed the Monster because he's very strong, physically speaking, very fast, very superior, air superiority. He wins all the balls in the air, but he's also really good with his feet. He can play anywhere on the field on the defensive line, despite being a left-footed center back. And he also combines really well with his teammates. So definitely the kind of defender that you won't see coming out of La Masia. You know, someone like a Bull, you know, that's not kind of like what La Masia produces. So it's going to be very interesting to see him playing for Barca Athletic. Looks like Barcelona have been really doing a lot of investment into their defensive line, which I'm glad to see that, because we've known that for the longest time, Barcelona has had some of the best midfield and attacking lines in the world. But they've always lacked in the defense. And it looks like Barcelona are continuing to invest in a defensive line. So I'm very happy about this signing. Again, I had never heard of him before today or before yesterday. But then I looked up some of his highlights. Definitely an impressive defender, no-nonsense defender, goes all in and is very, very solid. I highly recommend you watch his highlights. Again, he's being signed for Barca Athletic, so we'll see how his progression will happen in La Liga. And maybe one day we'll see him with the first team. So let's head back to the comment section, because the next section is about Jorge Mendes, who will be meeting with the club this week. And we all know when Jorge Mendes arrives in town, there's a lot to talk about. Okay, so let's see. Hooper says, what's up, man? What's up, Hoopers? Will Barca still go for Fabricio Diaz since Boozy left? Fabricio Diaz was on the agenda. His club decided to increase his price, so that operation was put on hold. Then he left for the World Cup, so obviously there were no contacts between Barcelona and the player. He was focused on the World Cup. The World Cup just ended yesterday. Uruguay defeated, I think it was Italy. So now Uruguay are the world champions, the under-20 world champions. So now that the player will be coming back to his club, there might be some more communications, but of course, the big question is his price going to increase even more now that he is a world champion? It had already increased before he left to the World Cup. We'll see how much his current club is going to want. If they increase it even more, I don't see this operation happening. Again, the club is very strapped for cash. And they already couldn't afford what his current club was asking for, Liverpool de Montevideo. So now if they increase his price after winning the World Cup, this operation is going to be very difficult. Choo Choo is in the chat. What's up, Choo Choo? Hopefully you're not bringing any of that Nico nonsense today. Otherwise, you're getting banned. I'm kidding. I'm not going to ban you, but let's see. Dark Knight says, what's up with the young Senegalese signing? Did we just sign players to send them to the third division? Well, the thing is, he's 18 years old, right? He's only played in Europe less than one season, half a season, and it's been in the Croatian league. So you can't expect someone who's just played half a season in the Croatian league to come and become a starter with the first team of Barcelona. Obviously, that's a huge, huge jump in skill. You want him to adapt first to the Barca style of play, then slowly bring him in. Because if you bring a player and he makes that huge jump, it might be a little bit too much at first. And then if he fails, now his whole career is ruined because nobody's going to think about, oh, well, his jump was too big. Everybody's going to think, oh, he flopped. And there goes his career. So it's better to slowly work him up and then have him play with the first squad rather than bring him right away. That's why a lot of times, like I see a lot of people commenting, giving me options on the videos, commenting about, oh, we should get this guy for the pivot or this guy for the pivot. Like there's the guy who plays in Belgium, I forgot his name, or Fabricio Diaz. Pivot position is very important in Barcelona. So you can't just bring anybody and be like, all right, you're starting as a pivot. Good luck. Can't happen. It has to be someone experienced. If you are going to bring someone young, they have to first work their way up before you can put them there. This is not FIFA after all. This is real life. All right. So let's get back to the news real quick because there is a critical, important, very important meeting with Jorge Mendes this week. It might happen tomorrow or the day after. If you don't know by now who Jorge Mendes is, he's the biggest super agent in the world. He represents a lot of Barcelona players, including Ansu Fati. And he will be coming to Barcelona to sit down with the board of directors and talk to Laporta, Alemany, and the rest. Now, what are they going to be talking about? There's going to be a lot of topics on the table, starting with the contract renewal of Balde. It's mostly done, but of course, they have to make it official. Now that Barcelona will be able to register the contract renewal, there's probably going to be talk about Ansu Fati. Barcelona really want to offload Ansu Fati. Ansu Fati really wants to stay at the club. So they're going to talk to Jorge Mendes, see what's going on. If there's any offers for Ansu Fati, what are the options to offload him? What's going to happen with the player? There's going to be a big, big topic during that meeting because Barcelona need to offload Ansu in order to bring more players. There's going to be the talks about Nico because Jorge Mendes also represents Nico. And Barcelona, of course, want to offload him. So they're definitely going to discuss Nico and where can he go next. And there is the possible exit of Abde because Jorge Mendes might also be able to help the club with the exit of Abde. Again, Xabi wants to give Abde a chance during the summer preseason, see if he can prove himself. But Xabi doesn't believe that Abde is a definitive starter. He thinks he's more of a good option than coming off the bench. And Abde really wants to be a starter on the team. So that might drive the Moroccan player away because he really thinks that he deserves a spot on Barcelona. Which right there, I think, this is Barcelona. You have to earn your spot. If you're already coming with demands saying, I want to be a starter, I want to be more minutes, I think there's the door. I know a lot of people like Abde, but that's not the right attitude to come at Barcelona. If you want your spot on the first team, fight for it. Come, train hard, play hard, show the club what you have, earn your spot like everyone else did, like Iniesta did, like Xavi did, like Busquets did, like Messi did. Don't come after an okay or a semi-good season with Osasuna and all of a sudden think you're going to be the starting left wing for Barcelona. That's not how things work. And finally, the last topic that's very expected that's going to happen during this meeting between Barcelona and Jorge Mendes will be Ruben Neves. Jorge Mendes will be bringing up Ruben Neves again during this meeting. It's expected that he will. Again, Jorge Mendes insisting that he wants to bring Ruben Neves to the club. Xavi Hernandez and the entire sporting arena don't want to talk about Jorge Mendes. But the deal is, however, the club, of course, they do want to bring him, not from the sporting perspective, but bringing Jorge Mendes would help a lot with the financial fair play rule restrictions. So, of course, there's a divide right there between Xavi and the sporting arena not wanting him and the club wanting to bring him just so they can solve the financial fair play rule restrictions. And of course, Xavi has communicated to the club that if you gotta bring me Ruben Neves, it's fine. However, in exchange, I want my number one option priority for the pivot position. Who's the number one option? Of course, Martin Zubimendi. So that puts the whole thing, the whole situation into doubt because we're not sure Zubimendi can come to the club. So if he can't come to the club, then Xavi won't agree to Ruben Neves. But Jorge Mendes really wants to bring Ruben Neves. The club wants Ruben Neves. So it's going to be a mess. There's going to be a very messy meeting. Going to be a lot of news headlines coming out of this meeting after it ends. So definitely stay tuned to the channel because I'll be here ready to bring you the most up-to-date news because whenever Jorge Mendes lands in Barcelona, the headlines just go off the chart. Now, talking about Zubimendi, it looks like Barcelona are going to be making an offer to Real Sociedad, even though Real Sociedad have said that they don't want to offload him, and even though Zubimendi has said that he doesn't want to leave. Barcelona are still going to make an official offer just so they can please Xavi because Xavi's really insisting on this guy. Obviously, we don't know if that offer is going to be accepted. I highly doubt it, especially since Zubimendi made more statements yesterday, or I think it was today, where Xavi had commented in a previous press conference during the season that Busquets number 5 would look really good on Zubimendi. However, Real Sociedad just gave Zubimendi the number 4 jersey, which belonged to Yarramina, who's a legend at Real Sociedad, and he made the comment that Yarramendi. And he made the comment, Zubimendi, that he actually prefers the number 4 of Yarramendi over the number 5 of Busquets. So once again, telling Barcelona that he wants to remain in Real Sociedad and that he has no interest of coming to the club. I think that alone should be more than reason for Barcelona not to make any offers. I think enough is enough. The player has said a million times he doesn't want to come. Let's stop going after him. This is Barcelona, the biggest club in the world. Let's not drag ourselves through the fields just begging for players. If he doesn't want to come, then keep him where he is. There's plenty of pivots out there that would love to come to Barcelona. Let's stop begging for this guy who, in my opinion, is not even that impressive. But I guess Xavi sees something that I don't. All right, let's head to the comment section because the next news is about Barcelona's new target for the right back position, Ivan Fresneda, and we'll talk about him. So let's go. Chuchu says, Mo, let Nico be. Hey, I'm not the one who brings him up. You're the one who keeps bringing him up. Anthony says, having a Puyol-like player would be crazy good. Yeah, it would. I missed up the days of Puyol. Brad says, the sale of Ansu Fati with a buyback option is interesting. Get money now, but retain the rights to have him back. I personally don't like buyback options because they've come to bite us in the ass many times in the past. We sell these players for little amounts and then all of a sudden they explode and now we have to pay 10 times what we had sold them for. I think you have to commit to your decision. If you want to get rid of the player, just get rid of them. Don't look back. None of this like, well, I'll get rid of him. Maybe I'll bring him back. I don't know. I think commit to your decision and just move forward. You can. I personally don't like the buyback options. Okay. Brad says, how does buying Neves help us? I'm confused. I don't see the help. Okay. So it helps us financially speaking because by unloading Ansu Fati in exchange for Ruben Neves, you would be taking off a huge salary off your books. Ansu Fati has something like a 10 million euro salary. And instead, you'll be replacing it with Ruben Neves' salary, which is around, I think, something like 3-4 million. So that frees up a lot of salary, a lot of space on your wage bill. There's also, of course, you would be swapping out Ansu Fati for Ruben Neves plus some cash. So that cash would also go and free up more space on the wage bill. So that's how it would help. All right. And again, it's just financial. That's why the club won him, just from the financial standpoint, because from the sporting standpoint, Xavi wants nothing to do with the guy. Okay. Brad says, can we drop the Zubimendi talk? I agree. I'm tired of Zubimendi. I'm tired of hearing about him. I think we should move on. Enough is enough. All right. Caleb says, do you have some realistic transfer suggestions for Barca? The only realistic thing right now is Íñigo Martínez and Gundogan. That's it. But it all depends on how much Barcelona will be able to offload players. The more players they offload, then they might be able to bring a third guy. They offload more, maybe a fourth guy. Besides that, not happening, And I want to stress this point because I think the channel's been open a little bit over a year, and I've made about, I think the last time I checked, it was 387 videos. That's not including the live streams. With the live streams, let's say 400, just to round up the number. And I think in every single one of them, I always say, there's no money, there's no money, there's no money, there's no money. But every single time, people comment, we should sign Mbappe, we should sign Neymar, we should sign Haaland. And I'm like, guys, I don't know how else to drive this point. There's no money. Like, I think I'm just going to start wearing a shirt that says there's no money on every video. And maybe that will help drive the point. I don't know. We'll see. I'm pretty sure when the stream ends, I'm going to see a bunch of comments about people suggesting we sign all these crazy players like Leao or Julian Alvarez, people who are worth 100, 120 million euros. Again, no money. All right, let's move on because Barcelona are targeting a new possible option for the right back position. And this option is Iván Fresneda. If you haven't heard about Iván Fresneda, he's an 18-year-old right back, of course. He plays for Real Valladolid. And if you're not aware, Real Valladolid just got relegated to the second division. And of course, whenever a team gets relegated, it becomes like a fire sale of players because a lot of the quality players look to leave since, they don't want to play in the second division. Also, a lot of these players in their contracts, they have release clauses that get lower if the team gets relegated. We saw that with Rafinha. His release clause would have gone down. I think it was like to 15 or 20 million euros. Had Leeds United been relegated in the final match, they were able to avoid relegation. So we ended up having to waste 60 million euros on Rafinha. But so Iván Fresneda had a really good season as a right back with Real Valladolid. They're relegated now. So Barcelona have contacted the club and they want to see if Iván Fresneda is interested in joining Barcelona, because after all, he did come up through the Real Madrid Academy. And it looks like what Real Valladolid told Barcelona is that they want to make Iván Fresneda the biggest sale in their history. So in other words, they're looking to cash in on this guy. Now, before you think, oh my God, are they going to charge us 2 billion euros? No, that's not the case. The biggest sale in their history was Mohamed Salisu. He's a center back that they sold to Southampton, and they sold them for 12 million euros. So they're looking to beat that record. And it's reported that they want the release clause, his current release clause, which is worth 20 million euros. So Barcelona are going to continue this line of communications open with Real Valladolid and the player to see if they can bring him. But they think 20 million euros is a little bit too much for him. But they also think that if the player decides that he does want to come to Barcelona and starts to pressure the club, that Barcelona could sign him for less. However, and this goes back to the previous point, which is the new signings are all going to depend on how many players Barcelona offload. In order for Barcelona to make this signing of Iván Fresneda, they absolutely have to offload Serginho Dest. If they cannot offload Serginho Dest, they cannot sign Iván Fresneda, no matter how much money or how little money Real Valladolid ask for. So again, the signings of Barcelona are heavily, heavily tied to the players that they will be offloading. There's no way around it. We cannot keep the players and also sign new ones. Players have to leave in order to make space for new ones. Just think about it as a van that's packed with people. Every seat is taken, and the only way you can give a ride to someone else if someone inside the van gets off. So again, no money. Remember that, guys. Please, no money. All right, let's get back to the comment section, and then we will talk about Vitor Roque, another signing that might be very difficult for Barcelona to accomplish. All right. The 8 says, the way I see it, if fans of a team want a player, then let's pay for him. I mean, look, man, if you have 100 million euros sitting around You want to wire it to the club? By all means, man. Go for it, because I don't. I'm broke. All right. Chuchu says the Valladolid right back isn't so good. Rather get Cancelo on loan and wait to sign Vandersen. The problem with Cancelo is that Barcelona want a permanent solution to the right back position. Cancelo is not it. If Cancelo comes, it would only be on a short loan, and Barcelona would rather sign someone now who's a long-term solution. And of course, there's also the problem of his wages. Cancelo's wages are high. Barcelona cannot afford him unless Manchester City agree to some kind of deal where they can cover part of his wages, then maybe. And then finally, there's the whole deal with his, extracurricular activities, if you may, or his attitude outside in the locker room. That's also a big problem. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, Brad says 20 million for a relegated team's right back. Exactly. So that's what they want. Barcelona are not willing to pay that. They think that they can, squeeze a bigger discount. And if the player insists on wanting to come to Barcelona, then Barcelona really think that they can even get more. There's a lot of clubs after him. I know a lot of clubs in the Premier League want to sign him too. I think Arsenal are willing to pay 17 million or something like that. So we'll see. We'll see. Omar says, how about signing of Vitor Roque? All right. So Vitor Roque, great segue because it's the next news segment. Vitor Roque is officially the number one priority for Barcelona to reinforce the attack. Now, the problem is the 40 million euros that Atletico Paranaense are asking for. Barcelona cannot afford that. So the plan is for Deco to try to convince the player to stay in Brazil for one more season until 2024. And by then, Barcelona will be in a better financial state. They also would have, offloaded many of the players that they're trying to offload, so there'd be more space on the wage bill. Hopefully, the financial fair play rule restrictions won't be as bad next season. But of course, that's going to be difficult. So what Barcelona are also working on is to get a verbal agreement from the player to commit to Barcelona verbally, so they can see maybe if he doesn't want to wait until 2024, maybe Barcelona can sign him in the winter transfer market. Now, for now, Vitor Roque is staying put. He's rejecting the offers that he's receiving, and he's receiving a lot of offers. Arsenal, Chelsea, PSG, everybody and their mother are after this guy. For now, he's rejecting them. He's staying put in Brazil, but we'll see how long that lasts because the player really, really wants to come to Europe. He feels like he's ready, and he is ready. I mean, the only reason Atletico Paranaense are relevant right now in the Brazilian league is him. He's keeping that team alive. If it wasn't for him, I have no doubt that team would have been relegated a long time ago. So he's ready. He's ready to make the jump. We'll see how long he's willing to wait. And we'll see what Barcelona can work through Deco, because if there's anyone who can work miracles in the Brazilian market, is Deco. So I really hope Barcelona sign him. He's an absolute beast. Not to mention that Real Madrid's bet was on Endrick, and they spent 60 million on him. He's not going to be able to come to Europe for 2 more years until he turns 18. And now Endrick has completely disappeared off the map. He's not even being called up by Palmeiras. He's not starting. He's not playing. His performance has taken a huge dip. Meanwhile, Vitor Roque, who when Real Madrid signed Endrick, nobody knew of him. All of a sudden, he's the guy. So I'm pretty sure Real Madrid are regretting their decision right now. So I really hope Barcelona will be able to close this signing. But it's looking very, very difficult because, again, and I really, really want to stress this point, we need to offload players before we can sign new ones. Why? Because there's no money. Okay, let's get back to the comment section, and then we will end talking about the CVC and the whole Barcelona pulling out of that lawsuit against La Liga and problems that has caused in the Real Madrid offices. Okay. Let's see. Ike Chuo says, would Faye play in the first team? Barca Athletics. He'll play in Barca Athletic. I mentioned that at the beginning of the live stream. Cinto says, I'm sure I've heard Xavi say Vitor Roque is not a priority. Vitor Roque is the number one priority for the club as far as the attacking line. When it comes to priorities, period, the pivot position is number one. But when it comes to the attacking line, the number one priority is Vitor Roque. So Barcelona are not going to sign anyone for the attack before they sign Vitor Roque. So no Carrasco, No Haaland or Mbappe. Not that those are possible. But nobody. Vitor Roque's number one option. Until Barcelona sign Vitor Roque, they're not signing anyone for the attack. Okay, let's see. What else? Pancho says, looking like Amrabat will happen due to what Kimmich and Subimendi came out and said. Yes, so like I said in yesterday's video, Amrabat is becoming more and more of an attractive option for Barcelona because obviously Xabi's two favorite options, Subimendi and Kimmich, they look nearly impossible. And also, Amrabat is an affordable option. Barcelona could bring him for 20 million euros plus a player to Fiorentina. So it's a very doable operation. Chuchu says, Mo, Faye can't compete with Balde for left back. It's going to be crazy. So Faye can play as a left back, but his main position is center back. And I think Barcelona, assuming that his transition goes well in Barca Athletic, he adapts well, etc., I think Xabi would probably want him in the left back because Xabi really, really insists on having left-footed center backs. That's why he signed Íñigo Martínez. Of course, Íñigo Martínez is 32 years old. So if it takes Faye a whole season to adapt, I can see Faye coming up to the first team in that left-footed center back position, kind of like to take over once Íñigo Martínez is no longer at the club because he's only going to be signing a 2-year contract. Okay, last news about the CVC because I mentioned, I think it was, what's today? Monday. I think it was Friday's video that the Spanish courts had deemed that the agreement between La Liga and the CVC fund was illegal because when La Liga voted on it, when the La Liga clubs voted on it, they hadn't been given sufficient information by Tebas and La Liga's management. So therefore, that voting was illegal. But then that vote was ratified a few months later, and the court said that the ratification was fine, that was legal. So pretty much the court ruling didn't mean anything, okay? The CVC fund deal was still going to stand. There's still an agreement between La Liga and the British investors of the CVC fund, where all the La Liga teams who signed this agreement, they agreed to sell about 10% of their TV rights for 50 years, which is insane, in exchange for some money so they can spend on their infrastructure, on paying off their debts, and on signing players. Of course, this whole thing has been an absolute failure. All the clubs that signed on it, they gave up a big chunk of their income in exchange. They didn't get much. A lot of teams like Real Betis, like Sevilla, like I think Villarreal, Valencia, struggling financially, drowning. Some of them had to get rid of players because they couldn't sign them. They couldn't register their contracts because of the financial fair play restrictions. And despite signing the CVC deal, it helped absolutely nothing. And of course, the rumor is the only reason Tebas pushed this deal on everybody is because he most likely got a big fat cut out of the whole deal. Not surprising. The guy's a criminal. He always has been, and he will continue to be as long as he's in that position. Anyways, the reason the court said it was illegal is because of a lawsuit that was brought on by Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Athletic Club de Bilbao. These are the 3 first division teams who said, we're not stupid. There's no way we're signing the CVC deal fund. It's a bad deal. So they didn't sign it, and instead they brought on the lawsuit. And of course, the courts ruled in favor of the 3 clubs. But now Barcelona have announced that they're going to withdraw from the lawsuit because they don't want to anger La Liga, because they know that this summer transfer market is going to be very difficult for Barcelona. They are going to need La Liga's help in registering players. And the last thing you want to do is anger them, because at the end of the day, La Liga can say, you know what? I don't have to do anything. Screw your feasibility plan. Screw everything. Until you fix your economic situation, I'm not helping you. And there goes all the signings. We can't register any of them. And we're screwed. So Barcelona decided to withdraw from the lawsuit to try to make peace, to see if La Liga can help us out. And this apparently has absolutely angered Real Madrid, Florentino Perez, and everybody. They feel like Barcelona is betraying them. But Barcelona don't see it that way, because not only are they doing this because they don't want to anger La Liga, but they're also doing this because of what Real Madrid did to Barcelona in the whole Negreira case. You know, Real Madrid broke a non-aggression agreement that Barcelona and Real Madrid had in place for many years when Real Madrid declared that they wanted to join the lawsuit against Barcelona in the Enrique Negreira case, despite there being no evidence that there was any kind of corruption or anything. So the fact that Real Madrid stabbed Barcelona in the back, Barcelona are now saying, why are we going to try to go fight against the world, fight against Tebas, against La Liga, against the Spanish Football Federation for some guys who all they do is keep stabbing us in the back? Screw them. We're out of this lawsuit. Let's not anger La Liga. And if Real Madrid wants to fight the fight, they can fight it on their own instead of us helping somebody who has betrayed us. So that's Barcelona's position. Real Madrid are upset about it. Screw them. But I do want to clarify something, because there has been some reports coming out saying that since Barcelona withdrew from the lawsuit, that the plan is to agree to the CVC deal. That's absolutely false. Barcelona are not going to agree to the CVC deal. Barcelona still think that the CVC deal is absolutely horrendous. So they're not signing off. They're simply just not going to pursue the lawsuit against La Liga and Javier Tebas. So that is it. We made it, guys. We touched on all the important news. We have a few more minutes. Let's see what you guys are saying, and then we'll wrap it up and get ready for tomorrow, because I'm sure tomorrow's going to be crazy again. If Jorge Mendes meets with the club tomorrow, it's going to be a lot of news. So stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button so you can get the notifications. You also get access to the community tab, which is where I put updates in between videos, because sometimes the news just travels way too fast. It doesn't give me time to make it home and make a video. Okay, let's see. Chuchu says there's no money. Guy Mo got money, Saudi money. Oh man, if I had Saudi money, I'm telling you, I would not be making these videos. I'd be somewhere on the beach, just sunbathing, living life. But unfortunately, I have to work. Let's see. Michael says it seems like Kimmich don't want to come. I don't think he ever did. I think the whole leaking reports that he wants to leave, that he's interested in Barcelona, I think it was him just trying to spice up the counter offer deal. You know, a lot of players do that when their renewal is coming up. All of a sudden, they're interested in leaving. And then once the offer gets higher, they're like, oh, never mind. Just kidding. I always wanted to stay. Okay, Brad says, does Tebas do anything that's actually legal? Probably not. I think you know how some people wake up and choose violence? I think Tebas wakes up and chooses criminality. He's just like, you know what? Today's a great day to commit crimes. The sun's out, beautiful weather. Let's do it. Let's see how many crimes we can commit in one day. All right, Brad says, does the FFP in La Liga need to change with the illegality of the CVC deal? I think it needs to change, period, regardless, because we've seen what the financial fair play rule restrictions in La Liga are doing to the clubs. They're completely crushing them. Talent is completely running away to the Premier League. We're seeing all the talent from La Liga migrate to the Premier League, and I think the financial fair play rules need to change, because if we cannot keep talent in La Liga will die, because you need talent. Talent brings viewerships. Talent brings sponsorships. Talent brings money. Without talent, La Liga is just going to continue declining and declining. And the next thing you know, it's going to look like the League On. God forbid, that league is horrible. Please don't watch it. So, yeah. All right. Linus says, I don't get why Xavi wants to keep Ferran over Ansu. I talked about that video. He doesn't. That's absolutely false news. Xavi does not want to keep Ferran over Ansu. He wants to get rid of both. Okay. Brad says 86 people, only 16 likes. Yes, Brad, good point. Well, it's now 73 people with 39 likes, but let's make it 73 and 73 likes. Let's hit that like button, guys. It really, really helps the channel. Now, let's do one more comment, and then we'll wrap it up so you can guys keep back to your lives and be ready for tomorrow's video. Dark Knight says, what happens if Ansu, Ferran, and Cassie decide not to leave? No signings. Pretty much. Well, offloading all the loaned players might bring in some margin to Barcelona to be able to make a signing. But Cassie, Ansu, and Ferran not leaving would be a huge, huge blow for Barcelona. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I'm pretty sure Barcelona will be able to get them out eventually. It's just going to take more time, which is, of course, not a good thing either, because the more time passes by, you know, the more you miss out on players. Because a lot of players, they want to know where they're going to play before they go on vacation. So they try to close their deals right when the window opens. Not a lot of players want to sit around, hang around until August to figure out where they're going to be playing. So not good, but we have to work with what we got. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for those who will be watching it once it ends. Again, tomorrow's video, I will see you there. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot of news. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Have a good night or good morning wherever you are in the world. I'll see you tomorrow. And as always, Visca Barça.